I will surely be looking at the 2024 budget and the implication for an average Nigerian. And joining me this morning to Australia is a social commentator talking about Godwin Peter. Godwin Peter, it's a pleasure to have you this morning.
Same here. Thank you very much, Abuja. Listeners out there, it's a pleasure to have you on the live TV.
Okay, so much really happened right there. I've been talking about the current situation of the economy, and the number of Nigerians are growing under the current situation. Cost of living is skyrocketing. Price of things are quite difficult for people to be able to afford. The level of Japan, as we say, is on the rise.
Yeah.
Somebody said something. People are leaving the shores of this country not because they cannot, not only because they cannot afford two square meals, because they don't want to die of hunger. In the middle of all this, we have a budget that Nigerians are hoping that budget can be able to ameliorate the condition of the people. Do you share this sentiment? Are you optimistic about the 2024 budget?
Well, to start with, the area of people jaguaring out of the country on a daily basis is not a new thing in Nigeria because everybody on a daily basis is searching for greenhouse pasture. But in current dispensation, people are moving more than the norm because, as you said, the cost of living is becoming so hard and people are looking for life out there. Now, in 2024 appropriation budget, as called by the National Assembly, a budget of renewed hope. I perused through just tonight, and I see that there is a hope, but it's not without some sentiment, because there are some areas that the government are supposed to really pay attention to in the budget that have not really been given adequate attention. But in generality, there is a hope in as much as Nigeria on a yearly basis expect to see a new budget and a new life going after the implementation of the budget.
Taking a look at the amount of money targeted towards 2024 budget, about 2.32 trillion is going to education. And that brings up the issue about the student loan bill, which has become a source of major discourse among educationists across the country. We've seen the kind of say we as ASU seems not to agree with student loan bill.
And comparing the money that is allocated for education to what the National Assembly are allocating for themselves. When we are looking at that statistics, we discover that the National Assembly that is made up of 360 House of Rep members and 109 senators, what is allocated to them cover far more what is allocated for about 25 to 26 universities all over the country. And that tells on how of the education has been brought down, because within my level of understanding, the amount you invest in a project shows the respect and how important that project is to you. So the National Assembly is more or less more important to the government than educational sector, which is supposed to be a future development for the country. All right, that's the other side. So now we're dealing with the issue of student loan and why there is a kind of internal feud within academic staff unions and the federal government. The reason is that the academic body knows what the Nigerian Constitution stipulated about education, and that is where we are having a problem. Let me go back to law. In 1999 Constitution as amended, Section 18 speak about the educational objective of the nation. And so to say, he said that the government at all costs shall pursue and ensure adequate and equal educational opportunities at all levels for every Nigerian. If the Constitution is short, it means education is supposed to be free. That is 18. Now, that subsection 3 of Nigeria Constitution talked about that to this end, the government shall provide free and compulsory primary, universal education for all Nigeria. That's A. So that's section 3A. B said education, secondary education shall be free. That is in Nigerian Constitution 18(3)(b). C said education shall be free at university level. D said they should be free at adult literacy programs. It means education according to the Constitution is supposed to be free in Nigeria.
But we know the reality is not. The reality is different. Even when we're talking about the fact that education is supposed to be free, in the 70s and 80s, we know that most times in the Southeast, education is not free.
Yeah.
Probably in the Southwest, you get to have free education.
Yeah.
But holistically, let's take a look at what the federal government is doing. Because based on the decision taken by federal government, they are looking at the situation whereby the impasse, there's been a long-running impasse between federal government and ASU over issues of fund and stuff like that, can be reduced to a barest minimum. And if students can be able to obtain loan to pay for their tuition fee, pay the normal rate, there won't be need for federal government to be financing some of these parastatals, some of these universities, the federal universities. But in the light of this, based on this, what you just read, talking about the Constitution, which you know the reality is different. Now, no matter what the education be free, you may pay maybe about 10,000 naira for school fees, but you pay so much for accommodation. Another thing is that you also spend money on that is not really, but they still tell you education is free, because if you are paying 20,000 naira for school fees, it's almost free. But you are paying so much in other areas. That's why it's obtainable in some federal universities. But now, put into consideration they are coming with the student loan. Do you agree with ASU on the issue about kicking against the student loan, that they prefer grants than student loan?
I agree with APSU in two contexts.
Okay.
Number one, the APSU is looking at the possibility of an ordinary student that do not have the required condition for obtaining this loan to be able to get this loan. That's number one. If you look at the loan, is not just something that just because you are a student, you go and apply, you get it. There are conditions that you must meet, and which, of course, is not all the students that will be able to meet up these conditions, which means the loan is political.
Are the conditions too stringent? I think the basic requirement for you to obtain the loan is to show that you have admission or you have been admitted to the university, and you'll be able to. But actually, some people are saying, what about the fact that if you finish, you are not able to pay that money?
I said I see in two contexts. The next context is the duration for education in a foreign countries where student loans are granted. Number one, you are not only sure that you have job after graduation. The government have set a template to be able to place a graduate on allowance until when he has a job. All right. So now in Nigeria, such modalities is not put in place. So if you are able to get this very loan, and after school, I've graduated for many years. I don't really remember the last time I worked as with my certificate. So supposing that I went to school through loan, I don't know, maybe I will be in jail.
But you've been able to sustain yourself.
I've been able to sustain myself.
So wouldn't have been able to gradually be paying off the loans?
If the loan was from federal government to a citizen,
yes,
it's supposed to be a grant, or it's supposed to be...
Why do you like free things in Nigeria?
Because the Constitution provides that education should be free.
Is that not what is killing the system? Because we believe everything comes from the federal government, it must be free. People don't want to pay NEPA bills. People don't want to pay water bills. People don't want, because they think it's coming from government, it should be free. What's stopping us from taking an average individual somewhere in Ondo who may not have a father or probably a mother who has the wherewithal to send him to university, but he or she wants to go to university, can be able to access this loan and be able to put him or herself through school? Don't you look at the merit of that objective?
The objective is as merit as you say. What's the feasibility of the person pulling through after his graduation to be able to obtain the result or the gain of the education they have required for himself, regardless of returning back the loan?
You graduated from university, you are not working for federal government, neither are you working for any private, but you have been running things by yourself.
Yes.
So if you have to obtain, if you are, let's assume that you went schools through the loan, would you have not been able to gradually paying off that loan that see you to school? That also creates opportunity for so many people. Because if we are talking about grants, some of the pitfall I see when we decide to go through grants, we know the Nigeria system. And it comes through grants. You find that the people who get those grants will not be the average citizen or the poor of the poor. Will also be the elite of the society. But when it comes to loan, people are afraid of not being able to pay. And the people who really need that loan will apply for that loan. If I know my father can send me to school, will I want to obtain loan? Definitely I will not. But if I know that I may have a challenge of going through school, I will definitely need a loan. And I know the importance of education, I will definitely need to go. I don't agree with it. I don't believe that people should kick against that loan issue. Because the mentality of wanting grants, it's what is really eating deep into the fabric of society because we don't want to pay back. And I think that's the part APSU is saying, which I think is wrong. Don't you think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
APSU is still capitalizing on the ground that this loan, as it were, no matter you said it's supposed to be for students who feel that they cannot, they are unable to afford their school fees by themselves. This loan is not as easy as it is. It is still political. This loan will be given to either the student bodies and the student unionists as well to manage in collaboration with the institutions. So you will see that the poorest of the poor among the students will not still be able to access this very loan. And secondly, talk about the grant. Why are we liking free things in Nigeria? It's because Nigeria have not set modalities for the citizen to benefit their rights and privileges as ordinary Nigerians. If I finish school, there is nothing that would make me feel reluctant to pay a loan that I've got to go to school. But if I finish school and they'll go back to the street and suffer like an ordinary Nigerian who have not attained Western education, paying of such grant, even I'm pulling my life through another means, it will look like a waste to me. Because the time I've wasted in the school, I would have used to invest on what I'm doing today. I would have gone farther. Today, I am a graduate. I'm still going back to do the same job that someone that stopped his school at secondary school have already done and have gone far ahead of me.
But are you not better with your level of exposure to do the business better?
I'm better. I'm more better because I didn't go to school because government granted opportunity. I went to school to seek an exposure, and I have nothing to regret about that.
Okay, but when we take a look at this student loan bill and looking at the positives and negatives, even in the Western world, some people still find it difficult to pay back the loan. I think it all boils down to mentality of some people want to collect loan, not wanting to pay back. And I think that's the situation in every weather. There will always be challenges. But holistically, let's look at the intention of federal government on wanting the student loan bill to be available and being part of the 2020. Do you look at the intention of the federal? This intention is good.
It's a good intention if there are no undertone. The intention is good. It's going to be a loan that ordinary Nigerians can access. I got admission because I love running programs. I got admission at the University of Abuja last year again to run political science at distant learning. So I don't know, when we are saying education is cheap or something, I don't know. Only acceptance fees alone was 35,800. Now, to some of the tuition fee and all that, I need to pay 120-something thousand. So in addition, we need 200,000, not talking about accommodation or whatever. Education is not cheap in Nigeria. So now, if this loan will come as a succor, if I had such opportunity, I would have still been there. But I dropped from the program. So if I were someone who have not attended Western education before, higher institution before, maybe I would have gone back to be a roadsider.
But let's assume that you want to gain admission to school, you're about to get admission. Will you take the student loan to go to school? If you have nobody to take care of your school?
I will, if the loan is accessible by an ordinary Nigerian.
I think the loan is definitely going to be accessible because I went through school and also happened to collect I also happened to have been was able to access bursary while I was in university. And I did school in the southwest. I schooled in the east, so I was able to access bursary. So I think if it was possible for me to have been able to access bursary from my hometown, from my state in Ondo State, then definitely it will also be easy to be able to access the student loan for just like everybody.
It's a very different thing entirely. Bursary is at the goodwill of either the governor or the senator or whatsoever, politically of your head, of your state, that they started to dispense that for students.
But it's a normal part, it's institutionalized. Every indigene of that state, who happens to be in university, you can be able to access bursary. And it's regularly being paid. So I think it will also work with it. I must say big thank you to you, Godwin Peter, for joining us this morning and for looking at the issue about the 2024 appropriation budget. And let's hope, just like you said, it will be a source of renewal for Nigerians right there.